we have the global manifesto on forgotten foods, wherein MSSRF is also part of the discourse and team. And we have developed this Asia manifesto and global manifesto. Global plan of action for community of practice also we have tried out. And maybe where there are 4 consultations that we have conducted in this region, and with a constituency partner in the country where MSSRF has led. One of the survey, the primary survey that we have conducted involving over 3,000 farmers that we have conducted for the South Asia region with the Asian Farmers Association. And if you look at in the context of forgotten foods, not only the survey as well as on-ground community consultation, already the major barriers for continuity of cultivation of these forgotten crops and foods, they have several impediments. Most probably, the expressions from the communities are from the productivity factor and profitability and limited market demand, and also very specific to women processing facility, all these things. On the contrary, most of these crops are actually, promoted or cultivated or consumed in the agroecologies, wherein there is a competitive crop also have come in those agroecology that has got a very competitive environment, so that the farmers are actually living from cultivation of these forgotten crops. And also there are institutional barriers. There are technologies that are available in the shelf of R&D, but there is an inadequate opportunity to access those technology. And we also see that over 3,000 farmers and different stakeholders there, they have expressed 2 aspects of it. One aspect is related to marketing, is a major barrier they felt for actually valorizing these forgotten crops and foods. The other area is that the seed, it's a 2-end problem. The seed and marketing, these are the 2 major expressions that we have received from the stakeholder, those who are involved in both production or processing or consumption from that angle. So we, foundation, we have initiated this work for promotion of NUS, neglected underutilized species, way back in mid 90s onwards. Professor Swaminathan mooted this idea, and we have tested and piloted in certain agroecology in India, in Tamil Nadu, in Odisha, and some part of Andhra Pradesh. We have actually tried out. So we call it as a 4C approach, because the bottlenecks are there in 4 aspects of it. The conservation, which is related to seed or production system, and processing, and that is leading to consumption. And if there are surplus, that going to the market. So these are the 4 major areas. We call it as a 4C approach that has to be concurrently attended by the R&D or by public policy. So therefore, these NUS crops can be valorized and mainstream. So this is a model along with Biodiversity International. We have actually piloted and demonstrated, and this has got a kind of value chain approach that concurrently attend all these 4 aspects of it. Right from, we start with documentation, and then farmers association, and then identification of knowledge holders, then building from there, leading to value chain. That is a way that we see that that will give them more opportunity for participation. So more of a participatory research and development process we have actually taken up. And to highlight some of our experience, I wanted to share some case studies here. So some of the areas where we work in NUS crops are endowed by the local community. We call it as indigenous community or tribal community in India. So where the communities, they have the intra-species diversity of millets, pulses, oil seeds, mostly dryland crop or hill crops, where there is a culinary cuisine is actually well associated. So in those agroecological context, MSSRF has taken up initiatives. And initial times, what we have done is that identification of the custodian farmers, those who are knowledgeable about these plants, and also in the seed conservation system and culinary practices, traditional culinary practices, and so on, and federated them as a kind of a tribal collective, community collective. We confederated them. Therefore, there is a knowledge exchange that can happen between community in a given agroecology, in a hilly region. Mostly we worked in Eastern Ghats, eastern part of the Ghats section of the India. We worked, whether in Tamil Nadu or in Odisha, we work with different indigenous communities in this way. And also we try to document the traditional management practices in farming system. For example, mixed farming system, crop rotation, relay cropping method, which is of mostly traditional in nature. Not much modernization has happened, like row planting or intensification methods, millet intensification methods and all. We have not studied that much, but we try to document the traditional method of cultivation. For example, to showcase this, the traditional farmers, they go with mixed seeds, so that if one crop fails, the other crop will survive. This will ensure mitigating climate risk, or provide them resilience capacity to mitigate risk, any kind of risk, or food risk, or climate risk. So such traditional practices we have documented. Then also we try to understand the need of the local community, because traditional community, they used to have their own seed system in the context of the NUS crops. But when there is a change in agrarian system there, and it is dismantled, so there is a need for congregation of some of the group members as a collective to manage community-based seed bank, so that the local self-reliance on the seed also actually taken care of. So the women, they were the custodians. We try to congregate them as a group, and different kinds of varieties and seeds are actually cultivated and promoted. And in the seed bank, there is a seed exchange happens between communities. So we promoted that. So we call them as a seed network, and the seed network exchange happens within agroecology. So if for some reasons, if seeds are actually vanished in certain regions, there is opportunity for exchanging between other seed bank to this system. So this really helps a lot. We have successfully demonstrated in Eastern Ghat region as well. And we also demonstrated slowly that there is a need for alternative seed system model in the context of forgotten foods and crops. In Odisha, we have successfully done this in partnership with the Orissa government, and wherein you see that the community and the seed certification agency, and there is a seed procurement agency, they come together. So there, the farmers used to have their own preferences. They have culinary preferences, or productivity preferences, or adaptive preferences for a particular variety. So it's a participatory varietal selection model that we have built, and pure line selection of certain varieties, and then quality seed production, then procurement in bulk quantity. So which is procured by the government and supplied by the government. So it's a kind of community and public and NGO partnership model that we have developed in Odisha region. So this is also very imperative, very needful in agroecology, where there is no much functioning of public seed system is possible or available. It is more vital to have such system in such agroecology. And the other aspect, what we have also witnessed, is that drudgery. In the context of NUS, drudgery is the key. Most of the farmers, they say that they do not have adequate or appropriate simplified tools in farming. The women particularly, they say they don't have time in an altered, changed agrarian environment. They do not have much time to produce NUS crops. So they want simplified tools. On the contrary, if you look at the R&D, they say that they have other kind of machinery which is of not that scale. So there is a critical gap for simplifying, suiting to their agroecology, the topography, elevation, and other factors, simple tools. So when we taken up certain tools to the farmers, that help them to adopt it. The other aspect in case of millet in this particular case is that we all know it's a cumbersome process, right from growing until gets processed, different stages. Mostly it happens in the public places, the roads or rocky terrains and so on. So that is also another reason for quality related to the poor quality of some of the material available reaching to the markets. So that has to be addressed, and different stages in the processing. Women, they are mostly involved. If we look at the gender role in millets, 90% of the role is taken care of by women. And mostly they say that the post-harvest processing, we have 8 species of millets in India, NUS crops classified. Of that, 3 of them are having a naked seed coat, and many of them, around 5-6 of the species, are multiple seed coated. So they want actually the kind of a processing facility to get it processed locally at the cluster, at the village level or at the cluster level. They don't want a kind of mega sort of a processing facility which can be used by the women or women group at the cluster level, tribal cluster level or village cluster level. They can process it. Two outcomes that we have witnessed. One aspect is that the drudgery is actually reduced a lot. It created entrepreneurship for the women. At the same time, it also reaching the local consumption pattern. So we have also witnessed that increased number of families started reconsuming millets in certain regions where we have actually provided and which is managed by the local community. That helps a lot. And the other aspect also we see in the context of forgotten foods, recognizing the TK, traditional knowledge for cooking, different kinds of recipe in relation to forgotten foods they are making it, but which is unrecognized. When we discuss with farmers, particularly women, they say that, sir, this is only for our local consumption. No, jokingly they will say, which is not appreciated by anybody else, which is not appreciated by market. So in order to valorize it, there is a need for appreciating and documenting it first. That MSSRF has tried out wherever we work. And also from that is a lead. From there, we have taken up to entrepreneurship level, empowering them in terms of techniques, tools, methods, protocols. That helped a lot in terms of value addition, local level value addition, leading to value added product preparation and leading to market and so on. Branding, I would say, also helped a lot. And on the side, upper side, you see that infrastructure. In many cases in the tribal region, the women, particularly the collectives, farmer producer organization collectives, they want a small infrastructure to house their kind of processing facility, to create entrepreneurship for millets or any other NUS crops. So such institutionalized support system, policy mooted support system can come from state. So MSSRF through convergence mechanism could be able to leverage such opportunity for the tribal community over there in different places. And the other aspect is that nutrition profiling, which we have done, that is also added to a part of a labeling that which is required by market. We also experimented that. And also several compliances. As this NUS crop moved to the market, there is a need for a lot of compliances, taxation, and legal requirements, quality control, and so on. So this is also needed as a part of empowerment process of the local community in the context of NUS crops and so on. We also found there is a need for bridging the knowledge gap between the elders and youngsters, particularly kids, because the consumption pattern changed and the agrarian system also changed, which is impacting on knowledge system also. So it's the intergenerational knowledge gap also needs to be addressed. So we have taken up several mela, for example, food mela or seed mela, if it is taken up at the community level, particularly in the tribal landscape, in the schools, if we taken up, that has created a lot of impact in terms of creating interest, kindling interest among the young kids. So there is a quest. They will, when they go back to the family, they ask, what they have actually learned on the day and what that can be done at the household level. So there's a food mela and seed mela play a phenomenal role in our system. Wherever we do as a part of a CBM, community biodiversity management, we integrate this aspect also. And market channeling, I would say right from grassroots method to linking with policymakers, different kinds of approaches are probably needed to mainstream, any NUS crops. Particularly, many of these crops are actually only revered as either as a religious crop. Certain occasions they will, consume or valorize it, or it is consumed as a subsistence crop at the local level. So in order to make it mainstream, to reach out to different kinds of market system, the foundation has tried out different fora, different platform to reach out, different methods to reach out to them also. And therefore, eventually it's a long process, and there are many enterprises that have developed at different scales, at the tribal belt, at the cluster level, or even in the urban, peri-urban and urban level. We have tried to connect through entrepreneurship model, and that has reached to many places as well. And I would say that obviously the federation, kind of independent organization in long run, is necessary, that creates a kind of environment for sustainability. So the Agrobiodiversity Conservers Federation in Panchamati Gramya Unnayana Samiti, in different locations, according to their cultural aspect, the community need, the forgotten foods and crops can be actually placed before the community, and they will decide, along with commercial crop, the forgotten crops or in-use crops also can have a place in their business portfolio of that. So that's the agenda. So purposefully we name some of we help the farmers to name some of the organizations, Agrobiodiversity Conservers Federation and so on. And we all know there are 3 acts at the policy level. Also MSSRF has influenced Biodiversity Act and Protection of Plant Variety and Farmers' Rights Act. And the third initiative is that Professor Swaminathan himself influenced a policy for inclusion of nutri-cereals, particularly millets, in the country. So these 3 acts are actually drafted by Professor Swaminathan himself, contributed a lot for the development. These 3 acts in the country also provide a lot of provisioning for inclusion and appreciation for neglected crops. And as on the ground work, we also create awareness among the different stakeholders on these 2 acts, how the custodian farmers can be appreciated and rewarded, and how their initiative can be appreciated as a kind of benefit sharing, kind of value chain model that can be created, so that on-farm conservation at the end of the day that can be assured. And as an outcome of this 20 years of experience, the foundation, along with different partners, we have also published this book on orphan crops, along with, I should say here, Dr. Padalosi, who was with the Biodiversity International, who was our guide and supporter for a long time, and along with them, and Danny Hunter from Biodiversity International, we have published it. It carries about 37 chapters across the globe around in-use crops and its best practices that worked in different agroecology. So I conclude here. I think probably this case can be customized in any given agroecology with the indigenous community, in their cultural settings. In my opinion, kind of a concerted, at the same time, continuous effort for a considerable time is necessary to provide them a kind of image, kind of a support system for the custodian farmers and groups, build value chain without compromising on the crop diversity, crop genetic diversity of that particular region, so that any market will have a kind of polarized view of selection of particular variety, market dependent variety, market preferred variety. So without losing the balance between the diversity and the farmer's interest, income, these 2 aspects are actually taken care of. Definitely mainstreaming of in-use crops or forgotten foods are definitely possible. With that, I close, and probably we can move for any discussion. Thank you.